Tonight, we're not going to walk in the light. No, we're going to descend deep into the mind of Fyodor Dostoevsky. We're taking a journey into a world of psychological ruin to ask a really terrible question. What if the path to God isn't paved with virtue at all, but with the burning shame of sin itself?
This single line, it's everything. It's the key to his entire universe. For Dostoevsky, you see, the grand cosmic struggle isn't happening up in the heavens somewhere. It's happening right inside the claustrophobic confines of the human soul. It's a war that's waged in whispers, in doubts, and in our most desperate acts.
To even begin to understand this internal war, we have to go back. We have to witness the one event that really forged Dostoevsky's vision. We have to stand right there with him at the moment of his own death. I mean, just try to imagine it. The sentence of death is read out loud. You're tied to a post, you look up, and you see the firing squad. And they're raising their rifles. You realize you have seconds left to live. And in those final, crystal clear moments of pure terror, the world itself just dissolves. And then a messenger arrives. The Tsar has granted a reprieve. You're saved. But the man you were just a moment ago, he's dead forever. After an experience like that, how could you see the world the same way again? Dostoevsky's eyes were opened to a completely different reality. He didn't see surfaces anymore, or professions, or social masks. He just saw souls in English, every single one fighting a silent, desperate battle for meaning against the deafening noise of existence. And that became the lens for all of his work. And this new way of seeing things, it led him to a place he called the underground, a sort of psychological cellar where the modern soul goes to hide and, well, to suffer. And here's where Dostoevsky just flips everything we value completely upside down. We celebrate awareness, right? Consciousness. But for him, it was a curse. To think too much, to feel too deeply, that's what severs you from the simple, kind of ignorant happiness of the herd. It's an illness that gives you a terrible, painful clarity. And so his heroes are not who you'd expect. They aren't noble knights on white horses. They're these guys, the underground men. They're spiteful, they're contradictory, and they are completely paralyzed by their own intellect. But, and this is the key, it's precisely because of their suffering, because they are so totally broken, that they can see right through all the lies of society. This brings us to what is probably his most radical, his most unsettling idea. The belief that there is a kind of holiness, a strange sanctity that you can only find in the act of sin itself. Just think of Sonia. Here's a young woman forced into prostitution just to feed her starving family. Now, in the eyes of the world, she is the lowest of the low, completely fallen. But in Dostoevsky's world, she's a saint. Why? Because she has taken on the world's filth, the world's sin, as an act of supreme sacrificial love. The self-righteous person, the one who's so convinced of their own goodness, they're like a perfect, polished wall. No light can get in. But the sinner? The sinner is broken. Their soul is full of cracks and fractures, and it is only through those cracks that divine grace, that any real light, can finally pass through. So the crucial point is this. The fall is not the end of the story. Hitting rock bottom, committing some terrible act, that can be the violent shock that's necessary to wake the soul up from its slumber and begin that agonizing journey back toward redemption. And all of this, it just builds and builds to that battlefield we mentioned right at the start, the one that rages inside every single one of us. You know, Dostoevsky just flatly rejects that neat, orderly vision of humanity that the Enlightenment proposed. We're not rational calculators of self-interest. We're chaos. We are paradox. We are messy, beautiful, and absolutely terrifying contradictions. We can be moved to tears by a piece of music, and then, in the very next moment, act with some kind of petty cruelty. We can aspire to the heavens while we're wallowing in the mud. This duality, this isn't some flaw that needs to be corrected. For Dostoevsky, it's the very definition of what it means to be human. So why all the pain? Why the anguish? Well, because suffering isn't meaningless. It's the price of admission. It's the tax we all have to pay for the agonizing clarity of self-knowledge, for seeing our own internal war for what it really is. And this is exactly why Dostoevsky didn't look for truth in the halls of academia or the courts of kings. He went to the gutters. He went to the taverns, to the outcasts. It's a fair question, right? Why would a genius go looking for truth in the lowest corners of society? What could they possibly have to teach us?
Well, a few things. First, absolute honesty. When you've lost everything, you have no masks left to wear. Second, their suffering is a kind of baptism. It has washed away all the pride that blinds comfortable and successful people. And finally, a really devastating kind of solidarity. When we see the fallen, we have to recognize that we're all complicit. Their ruin is also our ruin.
And so we finally arrive at the great, overarching conclusion of this dark philosophy, a truth that isn't found by climbing a mountain, but by descending into the abyss. His entire body of work is really a kind of dare. It's an invitation to stop running from our own darkness, from our own capacity for evil, and to actually face it. Because it's only in that darkness that a true and resilient light can ever be born. It's like an olive. The soul has to be crushed to release its oil. True holiness, he tells us, is not found in the sterile recitation of prayers. No, it's found in the hot, burning tears of a sinner who truly understands what they've done. It's found in a regret that shatters the soul.
And this is his final, stark choice for us. On one side, you have the tormented man, in anguish, in doubt, but truly alive. A living, breathing, questioning human being. And on the other side, you have the comfortable man, safe, secure, untroubled, and basically dead. Just a biological machine that has stopped asking the important questions.
And so we are left with this, a question that I think haunts the modern world. In our relentless pursuit of ease, of a life without pain, are we accidentally choosing a comfortable coffin over a difficult life? Is complete comfort actually just another form of death?